Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Chicago at its finest podcast for the masses. I'm here once more with my very beautiful co-host, Izzy Isabella. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Izzy or Isabel. Nice to see you guys again.
Every time it's the greatest. Great. Now, this episode is going to be a little different. We're not talking about true crime. We're not talking about baseball scores or statistics. We're just talking about some mature, reasonable attitudes to uphold as citizens of this city, this great, wonderful city that we have. And basically how to announce and pronounce that you're there without having to be so much more front forward that you're making a big display of yourself. Because we as Chicagoans, we're nice people. We like this. We like people coming to our city. We like the visitors. We love tourism. We're the city that works. So we're putting in the work for everyone to be here so they can dine and entertain themselves. But we do have our restrictions. And with that said, there's a lot of a code of conduct that we look for when we identify who's in our city. You know, how long have you been in the city?
So I was born and raised here all around. I do agree. We are very, very kind people as Midwesterners. I also lived in New York for some time, and I will say Chicago, we have some really nice people. So it's nothing to be scared of. Our city's beautiful. The dating life is a bit questionable, but we'll definitely get into that soon.
Yes. I mean, I love Chicago. I've been here pretty much my whole entire life. And I could say that once you learn the rules of the road, the driving in the city, not figuratively driving, not actually driving the city, is respectable enough that you could be part of the city and be part of the culture. So I myself am like a big proponent on doing things the right way. So I don't want to get in anyone's way. I don't want to start no shit with nobody. I don't want to fight in the middle of the street, although those happen. But for the most part, we're going to start off just talking about some pretty simple points. You know, we got public transportation etiquette. We have CTA etiquette. We have using any kind of forms of transportation that you have besides walking etiquette. So we're going to get into how to dress up your hot dog. Because
Yes,
God forbid,
there's
if
a
you
way.
get found out that you put ketchup on your hot dog, it's game over.
You're done. You're
Go
done.
back to Ohio. Go back to Iowa.
Yeah, get out of here.
And pizza, for one. The pizza is one of the biggest debates I think I hear about anything. I hear about the hot dog rule a lot.
Guys, you know what? I just want to preface this. Not even Illuminati's or Giordano's. The real Chicagoans know it's Pequod's.
Pequod's Pizza. Yeah, well, they got like 3 levels in that place.
Yeah, you
So
know
tiny.
ball.
Yeah.
You know ball.
Yeah. So knowing some of these certain facts, and when you become centered around a group of friends and you can all act together and everything works out, so it's because you know these rules. You have them in the back of your mind. I mean, no one's going to jump you necessarily. No one's going to like stab you, throw in the garbage can. It's just one of those things that, you know, like if you're at your dinner at your grandmother's house and maybe you put your elbows on that table when you're eating, she's like, I'll remember that for next Christmas, you know? So like, that's like what Chicagoans are like, I'll remember that next time you're here and see if you can change. So, I mean, the social norms of Chicago are based on a specialized blend of Midwestern approachability with our modest grit and firm municipal propriety. So, like our strong businessship, being that we're our eating city, we're a hub for media of some sort and some technology.
Yeah, I will say I really, really do love Chicago, not even being biased because I was raised around here. I definitely think that it is such a powerful hub. It really does give a mini New York. It's such a fast-paced city. We're north in the U.S., and our food scene is freaking good. Like I can arguably say with confidence that Chicago has the best food in America because if you compare it to New York, obviously New York has the best food, like hands down. But the size difference, the quality of the food that we have here in Chicago, I feel like in New York, because it's so huge, and I've experienced this from living there, and I'm sure a lot of New York people can say the same, you're not always going to run into a really good restaurant. There's so many restaurants in New York, but the likelihood of you going to like 5 restaurants in a row that are really, really, really good are probably not the same as if you're going to go to 5 restaurants in a row in Chicago and they're all insanely good. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure, I get you. Like, Chicago has its regional allegiance.
Yeah.
So, like, in different neighborhoods, there's different spots that are local that everyone likes. So, like, they dive right into these places and are well known. And, like, we guard ourselves in our residential food choices. Like, some neighborhoods, you get the better beef. Some people, you get the better dog. Some
Right.
places, you get the better pizza. And then, and you don't mind the travel time. You're like, if I know I'm going to get the best pizza and I got a taste for pizza, I'm going straight there.
Right, because even for Pequod's, like I don't think Pequod's is I haven't been there in a while, but it's definitely not like downtown or in the city. You got to drive a little bit.
I think it's off of Clybourne, off of Webster and Clybourne, right around there.
It's
I
worth
mean,
it. It's
yeah.
worth going.
I mean, I like deep dish, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Same.
I honestly, I'm a trader. I will say, sorry, but I like our tavern cut because it's just shareable.
I agree. I'm actually a tavern cut girly too. I personally like thin crust pizza over deep dish, but if I were to do deep dish, I'd do it right. And that's why I go to Pequod's. Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah, and I like a floppy big slice of greasy pepperoni triangle pizza, like New York style.
Yeah.
I like have this thing. It's like Ninja Turtles. I don't know what it is.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo pizza. Like you get to get the floppy and you fold it, and you get the grease dripping down your hand, and you're like stuff in your mouth, like you're folding in your mouth. Like I like that, but I do occasionally because I have family members who love deep dish pizza and Pequod's actually. And like they'll get in it and they'll get on it. I'm like, it's good. It's good. It's specialized pizza. It's not necessarily pizza. It's like a special adaptation of pizza. So
Yeah, that reminds me of hot dogs. So I personally love all beef hot dogs. And there's what are those hot dog spots that are right off the highway right there? It's like Maxwell.
oh, Jim's.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I grew up going there. My dad would take me there as a little girl until I got older, and I literally never knew what it was called, but I know exactly where it's at. It's like not too far from UIC,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The Jim's
so,
Maxwell.
So good. I also do
Yeah.
love Portillo's. I'm not going to lie. I love Portillo's.
Only suburbanites and tourists eat Portillo's.
Honestly, first of all, okay, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to go for a true Chicago hot dog, but their cheese fries are banging.
Cup of cheese.
Yeah, and I
So
get the
hot.
jumbo cup of
Oh, you got
cheese.
the
They came out with the jumbo.
big.
Like that's
like a
literally
pint.
that's all I've ever dreamed for in my life. Like the jumbo cup of cheese. Like give me that with some fries and a hot dog. Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Oh God. I honestly, we had this. I think we had almost the same exact conversation one of the last 2 episodes ago when we were talking about Mr. Beef.
Oh, that's right.
I go to Mr. Beef and I slam 2 beef sandwiches and a Pepsi like it's nothing. But it's so delicious. The gravy is so good. The au jus, the beef isn't like shredded, and the sweet peppers just like melt in your mouth. I'm like, man, this thing is just so fucking good.
I've actually literally never had an Italian beef in my life.
Well, you got to skip the hot dog in the line and get the beef at Portillo's. Like if you know what you
I
could do,
know.
you could get the jumbo beef. They have a jumbo size now.
Yeah, well, I don't think I personally could fit all that in me, but I will definitely try an Italian beef in
Yeah,
honor of
gosh.
this episode.
You can get it dry, which means it's just a dry piece of bread with the meat and the peppers. You can get sport peppers or hot peppers, which is giardiniera, or sweet peppers, or you can do the combination.
Personally, I like mine dipped. I'm a saucy girl, so
Yeah, I would say, or you can get it dipped, or you can get it baptized, which is it's just soggy bread with beef, and you're like gooey in your mouth.
no, see that? I don't know about that. I don't know.
Well, other than having food etiquette, I think one of the first things I want to talk about is that we have. It's sort of like being in kindergarten and learning how to walk on one side of the street and another when you're in a line. So, like, when we have our CTA and elevated train etiquette, like, it's just pretty simple. You know, you don't stand in front of people to check your phone when they're moving behind you and you're in a moving line. You got to keep the flow. So you need to acknowledge the fact that someone is around you there that's trying to get around you. So you have to step to the side.
Yeah, one thing I do appreciate about Chicago, because I spent a lot of time in Miami and LA and just other cities. We are fast-paced cities, but I feel like Chicago is a lot more of a balance. I did touch base on this in another episode. I do like how Chicago is still fast-paced, but you can make it a slow life for yourself here versus New York is just crazy everywhere. And if you like it, you like it. I liked it. But I do appreciate the Chicago vibe more. But with that being said, I'm a fast walker. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Elongates.
It's a pet peeve of mine when people are on the CTA or the subway and they're not paying attention, or in the airport. There was a funny reel or like a meme where it was like POV, you're in the airport and everyone just like bumping into you and they're like not even in your way and then they just become in your way. It's just like,
Oh, it's a mess.
guys, yeah. So I really do think that it's super important to pay attention when you're going on the CTA and on the buses and stuff like that. Like, don't hold people up. I feel like CTA is very reliable, but sometimes it does come late.
Mm-hmm.
So don't make it worse.
Exactly. My thing is about in the bus or in the elevated train. especially if you want like to look for a seat because you want to stand because maybe your legs are tired, or you walked a certain distance to get that L track, or you waited that long for you to get that bus, and like people are taking up all the seats with their garbage, with their bags and their coats. And you're like, come on, let me sit down. And another part of that is not just for anybody freely standing who wants to sit down and has an open seat, but like in the bus especially, you gotta let the open seats go for people who are like elderly.
Absolutely. You know, not everyone has this etiquette, and I'm so blessed to be have born. Wow, I can't speak. I'm so blessed to have been born, raised. Wow, what? Wait, what am I trying to say? Hold on,
Born
hold
and
on.
raised in Chicago.
No. I'm trying to say
Born and raised in Chicago.
that too. I'm saying I'm very blessed that I was raised with etiquette. So I have extreme respect for situations like that where I'm on the bus or on the train, which isn't often, but when I am, if I see an elderly lady or someone who's pregnant, I'm obviously giving my seat up.
Or handicapped.
Or handicapped, exactly. Or, you know, like, I don't know. I've been on the train before and I've had like hella bags, or I don't know. If I see people with a cast on, I'm like, oh, go ahead and sit, you know. I mean, it's one thing being a woman because a lot of guys do offer a seat to me, which is really sweet, and I do appreciate that. But it's another thing to have good character and like give up your seat for, again, elderly, handicapped, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and pregnant. I mean, you know how crowded the bus and the elevated train can get. I mean, like you're squeezing like you're sardines in there.
Yeah.
And finding a seat could be the most hard. Like by the time you find a seat, you already reached your destination.
Yeah. Another pet peeve of mine. So I'm definitely one of those guilty Chicago drivers who I'm definitely like a city girl driver. I'm into motorsports, so I love driving, by the way, hence the F1 jacket. So I'm a very good city driver. I know how to maneuver. I know how to get around. You know, I know how to keep traffic flowing. If like there's a right turn and there's pedestrians walking and then we're all stuck, like just go around. It's fine. You know, if I'm going straight. Some people just sit there and like ruin the light for everybody. Like, guys, lock in, you know? So I'm just a really good driver. I'm really good with traffic, whatever. I can spot from a mile away if people are bad drivers or they're like from the suburbs. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, like you could have made that yellow light. You just made me miss it too. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy.
I mean, especially in the city when they're doing construction on the road, those roads are already tight out of the way they are. Doing electrical, sewage, any new construction on buildings and skyscrapers, and a lane's closed. So you got to learn that zipper merging, how to merge in those lines. Like, you got to zip that in.
No, guys, I'm a zipper merger. Like, honestly, like I said, I do love motorsports. I have my motorcycle license. I like to drive.
Ooh.
I'm a road trip girly. Like, I just love being in a car. So I definitely am kind of an adrenaline junkie, and I don't drive crazy all the time, but at least learn to drive in the city. Like, lock in a bit, be a zipper merger, or just be a good merger at that. I do know Chicago construction is pretty crazy, you know?
Yeah, in the city
crazy.
and around the city, especially on the expressways. You know, expressways, I think in an expressway, you're probably more prone to accidents. Since you're going 60 miles an hour and up, you gotta hit that brake and hit that e-brake because you're not paying attention.
Oh gosh, wait, this is super niche. I already know Chicagoans are gonna relate to this. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say you're on Lake Street and then you're going onto I-90 and then you have to merge onto 290? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How it's like such a short, like you have to cross over like 4 to 5 lanes. And then like people don't know how to drive and they don't like lock in. Then they have to just keep going on like until they're almost by I-55 and then like go on 18th Street, turn around and then come back. That's
a mess.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
That part is bad about Chicago. I'm not going to lie.
Transportation altogether, I mean, you know, what really kills me though is how we're opening up these lanes for people to use like scooters and bicycles, and that makes me nervous because, you know, a bicyclist in a hurry is going somewhere around 30 to 35 miles per hour. And those what those e-bikes go up to. You know, those scooters, those mopeds go to 35 miles per hour, and you got cars zipping in and out of here not paying attention. These guys, and then what I fear the most is the pedestrian. I'm like, these people who are looking to cross the street and just, yeah, like, whoa, listen, scooter buddy.
Yeah.
You need to slow the fuck down.
So I actually got hit on my bike in
shit.
Chicago.
No way.
Yes. I'm laughing because I'm fine, one.
There you go.
Two, it was actually ridiculous. So I was not being irresponsible. I was on the sidewalk, actually. It was in a neighborhood in Chicago. And I was riding my bike, not an e-bike, was on the sidewalk. That's where all my rights are. You know what I mean? this car was backing up, but not only were they reversing out of their driveway, I mean, they like sped reverse and they didn't see me. They literally just sped into me and hit me like boom, head on. And I literally rolled on top of their car.
Ouch.
My bike dented their car and I fell off of their car. And I literally I was full of adrenaline, so I didn't feel anything. Yeah, I just got hit by a car. Like, I didn't feel anything. But I got up and they came out. They're like, oh my God, are you okay? Oh my God, oh my God. They're like freaking out. And I was so mad that like all I could see was red and I didn't say anything. I was just like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. They were like, do you need medical help? Are you fine? Like, did you break something? Did you break a rib? Their car was so dented, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was really dented.
Other people.
No, honestly, like, I did not care. You just hit me. So, of course, some car's going to be dented. Oh, well. And so, I mean, they were just focused on me because they just hit me. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I got on my bike and I biked away. I didn't even do anything.
As a motherfucker.
Yeah, no, but then when I, like, later on, I realized I was bleeding so bad, like, down my knees. And, like, I saw my cartilage and I was like, oh, like,
Shit. You break a leg?
No, I didn't break anything, thankfully. Like, I don't know. I just, like, gashed open myself, which thankfully I don't have scars for, but...
Did you get their information off them? Like, some insurance?
No.
Nothing?
I know where they live. I could always just, like, knock on their door and be like, hey...
I know where they live.
Hey, you remember 5 years ago you hit this girl on a bike? I'm getting my vengeance now. So, I mean, I don't know if they live there to this day, but I could pull up and see. I remember what they look like, too. Anyway, be careful, guys, on your bike. Even if you're not on the road, it can be on the sidewalk. You're not safe.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's still etiquette spans over the whole entire population. Like, being that it's taught, it's for a good reason that you're supposed to. I talked this last 3 episodes, I think, being aware and cautious of your surroundings, so that you're cyclists. We know that you're pissed because bicyclists and motor vehicleists don't have the same relationship, and they get mad at each other because they hog the road. But both of them hog the road, so it's like a beef between the two. But don't take that out on the rest of people who are walking or who want to ride their bike peacefully. You know, let's see. 3 weeks ago, I went to the beach, Oak Street Beach. And I sat there and I was just hanging out, whatever. And I was just watching the cyclists and the rollerbladers go by. And like a lot of these people on bikes, even on a pathway dedicated for bicycling that even has walkers or rollerbladers and such, still have the attitude that they own the road. And if you don't do exactly what you're supposed to do as far as your etiquette and like how to maneuver on the pathway, you could get really hurt and people could fuck you up and like people will get super pissed.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I feel like people need to have common sense because there's some people who will walk in the bike lane.
Yeah.
Then don't get surprised if you get whacked or if you get yelled at.
Yeah.
I think that's so insane. On the flip side, I'm guilty of this sometimes, but not in the way where it affects others. Literally walk when you're able. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it because you think you own the road. Like, people will cross the street even when the light is green, you know, the opposite side. And they would hold up traffic. Like, they deserve to get honked at. Now, when I say I'm guilty, I actually do cross when it doesn't say cross, but it's because there's no cars.
Plus, you're taking that risk and you know you're taking that risk.
Yeah, if there's no cars, it's fine. Like, I'm going to get on with my day. There's literally no cars in sight. I will walk. But if there's cars in sight, just wait because you're going to mess everything up for everybody. You're going to get honked at. Whatever.
People who take that risk, like you say, automatically know what they're going to get into, so they have to take responsibility and are liable for their own actions. There's some people who do that, who just automatically think someone will be in the wrong for them to be blamed, so they can get away with it because they're just stupid.
Yeah. See, don't be stupid, guys. Lock in.
So when I was at the beach, there was a family that sat down on the bench next to me, and it was 2 little girls, and they were playing with their daddy on the beach, and they were coming back and forth from the pathway. But one of the girls was just like oblivious, and her mom yelled at her. She's like, "Look both ways. Look both ways." And she's like, "I am." And she always gets run over by, almost gets hit by a cyclist. I'm like, shit, this is why you need to have some decent parenting skills to teach. If you learn this early on, like if you learn some proper etiquette and functional like maneuvering and how you walk and approach the street and stuff like that at an early age, like you know that you've been brought up that way. So when you take that calculated risk of crossing at an opportune time, you know that you're liable for your actions. See, kids don't know that, but they got to be taught that way because they need to understand that you're going to be at fault and you're going to have to deal with the problem. And it only takes one person to ruin it for everybody else.
Exactly. Literally, it takes one person. That one person starts crossing, people are oblivious, and then they start crossing, not knowing that they're not supposed to walk. And then everyone's in the street, and then a car gets 100 points for hitting everybody.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they can't have a police crosswalk everywhere they go, dictating about how to do stuff. They just can't. There's not enough manpower to do that. And you're supposed to educate yourself when you take your driver's license test. I mean, you like you said, you got a class. What do you got? A Class N motorcycle license?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and you got the driver's license. Like you're taught. Like these people don't realize. So I wasn't taught that when I was in driver's ed. Yes, you were. No matter how old you were, and you had to retake the test by the time you were 70, like 3 more fucking times.
Yeah,
it's a hazard. It really is. I'm worried about it because I sometimes do the same thing. I cross when like, hey, I have the orange hand. I cross sometimes when it's red, but I do it because I know I'm skilled enough. Not just stupid because I'm not following the rule, but I'm skilled enough that I can get away with it.
Yeah, you're taking that risk.
It's
I wonder if people get caught for jaywalking nowadays. I know that was a thing back in the day, but I've literally like I'm bold. I'll just like do it in front of a police car and they don't do anything. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't touch my luck though.
I don't know if jaywalking in this city, unless there's an accident, actually has a ticket to it. Is it?
I have no idea.
I haven't heard of that in a long time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I wonder. I'm curious if like that's a thing.
Yeah, because now that I mentioned, I've done that between like police cars too. And I'm like, jaywalking. And I'm like walking across, but they're not doing anything. They're going to do. They're like, if you're going to get hit, we just know that you're stupid. You know?
Yeah. The Chicago police are pretty questionable sometimes. One of them was hitting on me at Sephora, like an officer.
Sephora? Like, the security guard?
Yeah, on State Street. And no, it was like a police officer.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, like an actual police officer. And I was like, isn't this like illegal?
You're supposed to be on a job, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, so honestly, people, like when you're trying, I want you to keep this word in your mind, try. If you try to put forth the effort to properly associate yourself with your surroundings, like using an elevated train, using the CTA bus, getting in a cab or an Uber, because those still have to follow the same rules. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard of stories about people opening up their car doors and a cyclist going 50 miles per hour in the bike lane, bam, flying off and dying.
Oh my gosh. Guys, I have 2 stories. One, this didn't happen to me, but I'm very, very self-aware in my life in general, and I'm really proud of myself for that. For example, anytime I get out of an Uber or a taxi, whatever the case may be, I always check before I get out the freaking car, because you never know if there's another car zooming really close by you, or if you're in heavy traffic, or if there's a cyclist right there. I've seen a video of a girl like opening a car door, and the car door got like taken out. And I can't remember if it was like by a cyclist or I think it was by another car.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, oh, sorry. Like she didn't like do anything, or I don't know, maybe after the video she did, but it was terrible because the driver was like, I told you to look.
Yeah.
You know? So 1, be very aware. 2, I have another story that happened to me not too long ago. I do event management on the side. So I was helping a client run an event at the McCormick Place, which if you guys know, in that McCormick traffic circle, you can only drop off pedestrians, right? Only people. You can't drop off like boxes and a bunch of like supplies. You have to do that elsewhere. So usually I'll go to the Hyatt, which is connected to McCormick, and it's only like a 1-minute drive or a 30-second walk, but it makes it a lot easier because we're not going to get in trouble in that traffic circle by dropping off boxes or supplies or whatever, because you can just easily do it through the Hyatt and get out of people's way. You know, You can use a cart, just be in and out, super easy peasy. Tell me why I was going to McCormick in an Uber XL with a couple of boxes for this event. And of course, the Uber driver was hitting on me, which was very annoying. Super, super annoying.
Gotta have that.
So crazy. Like, I'm paying you for your services. Can you just at least
so
not flirt
beautiful.
with me? At least. Jeez. And then, so we're pulling up to McCormick, and I was like, oh no, I put the drop off as Hyatt, by the way. I literally put the drop off as Hyatt, not even McCormick. So he pulled up. He knew I was going into McCormick, obviously, and he was like, you should like I'll help you unload the boxes here because it's faster and easier. It's closer to where you need to be. He was like, I'll make your life easier, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. It'll make my life easier if you go to Hyatt. Like, I don't want to get in trouble. We're not allowed to drop off the boxes here. And he was like, no, I'll make it happen. Don't worry. He was like super egotistical.
God.
So egotistical. And I wasn't feeding into it. I was like, no. Like, you can take me to the Hyatt. He did not listen, which was horrible. He ended up pulling up to McCormick in the traffic circle. You know how the workers are on it. The workers already came by the car and they were like, you can't drop off those boxes here, sir. You can't do that. And then they kind of walked away thinking that he'd listen. Wrong.
Wrong.
He literally started to against my consent and against my will, take all the boxes out. And I was telling him, dude, we're about to get screamed at and I don't want to get in trouble. And you're doing this for what? You're not impressing me. This is like negative aura right there. Like, this is ick.
Suave.
Ick, ick, ick. Like, I literally was like, please stop. And he didn't stop. He put all the boxes there. And it was like, he wanted to show me that he's the man or something. Like, he started arguing with the McCormick people. They came over and they were like, we just told you to not do that. We're about to fine you $700. They were taking pictures of his car, of his plates. And he was just like, oh, he was looking at me like, sweetheart, don't listen to them. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
I was like, dude. And he was like, don't,
beautiful.
he was like, don't listen to them. I got you. Like, it'll all be handled. And I was standing there like, yo, this is insane. So then he leaves, the boxes get dropped off, whatever. The workers start coming at me. They're like, you told him to drop you off there, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's incorrect. Please lower your tone. He did that against my will. I'm a victim here, so don't talk to me like that. They were so rude. And I was like, do not take a picture of me. I'm not giving you my ID. Like, I will call the police. I do not play. Like, don't play with me. Anyway, I digress. Please
That's crazy.
pay attention to traffic rules. Be smart with opening doors. Don't force yourself to drop off a girl. It's not attractive. It's ridiculous.
That's
insane.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't take Ubers. I avoid Ubers and Lyfts. I usually use Curb to do Yellow Cab, such, which I have my own stories about those guys. Those guys are fucking nuts too, because, I call up a cab and I'm like, yo, I put in the address. It shows like however many ways it takes to get there, and they don't listen. So like they go their own way, and like they'll cut, and sometimes when they do U-turns, it's one of the most horrific experiences I've ever had, because you're like, holy shit.
Honestly,
because they're doing U-turns in front of all the traffic. You're like, damn, this motherfucker. Because I've almost gotten T-boned in a cab.
oh man.
I mean, I don't know if the story is better than yours. Not that we're comparing, but like, even hiring someone, like you say, to do something so specific as to just drive could be problematic, and it's crazy.
Yeah, speaking of cab, I don't know if you guys know the show called Cash Cab.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to like go into one where it's like a cash cab type of thing. But I think it's only in New York, and I don't think it's real anymore. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really scary, especially as a woman, to take an Uber or a Lyft or a cab. Unless I think Uber actually has this option now where it's like women only and Lyft, which I do appreciate. I personally haven't used it. I probably should. But yeah, I've definitely had a lot of horror stories in Lyfts and Ubers.
Well, those Ubers, cabs, and Lyfts all operate basically on the tips. I mean, they get the fee, the fare, but the tipping in Chicago, that's another hazard too, because it's after the pandemic, like during the pandemic and after the pandemic, it was more like a situational thing. There was like, if you're in the right place and right time, you're doing the right things, you get the tip. That's how it's always been. But now people had start to say, since the pandemic, I was living off of getting tips and I was living off of getting the wages at the same time, but those tips really pushed me along. So then it became a thing like you had to tip. And I've always been a good tipper. I tipped sometimes more than 20%.
Yeah, same.
And like for me, it can be it's like a gas guzzler for your cash, knowing that you have to tip every time because everything's so polluted with tipping. And that's it's hard to say that's a bad situation for people, because it's not our fault as the consumer and the customer that you only have a certain amount of wages that you can earn plus tips. But like, you have to think both ways. Like, I might have $5 to buy the coffee, but I might only have 50 cents to tip. And you might be like, that's it. People are so greedy for one, but I don't like tipping is so hazardous to me. Like, especially if you go into places like we talked about earlier, if you're going somewhere like 3 times a day to get a coffee or a sandwich, and the people know you, like, you don't always have to tip every time you buy something.
Yeah, so I had to actually explain this to my European friends because they were so flabbergasted by tips, since like tipping culture doesn't exist out there. And I'm talking specifically more about like my Italian friends. I remember we were all in LA and we were at this breakfast spot, and they were so severely confused about the tip. And they were like, I don't understand. Like, it was already included, by the way, because, we were like a big party. And I had to explain to them like what tipping was and why we tip. And then, for example, we were also at Starbucks, and they looked at me and they were like, I just tipped $5. And I was like, you didn't need to do that. And I'll explain why. So I'm a generous tipper as well, depending on the time and the place. I typically don't tip at Starbucks, but time to time, every now and then I do. But it's only like $2 to $3.
Yeah.
Not going to be like $10.
Oh.
But yeah, I always tip at restaurants. I usually do 20%. But it definitely depends. Like I'd have to agree with you that I don't think it's necessary to tip a lot, like every time you get coffee,
Yeah.
although it would help the workers, which I do like to tip as much as I can, but I just don't do it every single time, and that's okay. Especially for like those coffee spots or like Dunkin' or Starbucks. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's a local coffee shop, I'm more inclined to tip because
Sure.
yeah, it's like a smaller business, which I appreciate. But yeah, you don't always need to tip like every single time, especially if like, I'm trying to think, like at a fast food place, if they're just like grabbing your food off a shelf and just like handing it to you and they're
Yeah,
not really
for, like,
serving
pickup?
you. Yeah. For pickup, like I don't tip on pickup orders ever.
Oh.
I know they're still like getting it for me, but like that's your job. Like you're supposed
Yeah.
to do that. You're not like, I don't know.
Like for the restaurant business and the bar business for me is like where I tip the most because I'm in there having 2 to 3 beers. I'm getting wings. I'm talking to the bartender.
Right.
Talking to people. I feel good about my environment. I feel good that it's worth me being there and my money's being spent there. So yeah, I'm more inclined to tip that way to say, hey, this is what this. It all adds up. You tip because the service is good, the quality of the product is good, the environment and the vibe is good. So when it all clicks in, you're like, yeah, I'll tip. I'm generous. I want to come back here. But there's some things like in retail. There's like I've never heard about tipping for people who are in retail. Like I know there's certain like sandwich shops and stuff like burger joints, but I don't necessarily always want to tip for that, man. It's like there's a restaurant in my building. And it was the one I used to work at, and like you can tip there too, but I don't always feel inclined to tip there either because if I go there 3 times a week, I might tip maybe once or twice during the time, but it's obnoxious sometimes. No, it puts like shock and fear in my heart every time. Like when I want to just go buy. If the sandwich and the combo meals cost me almost $20, and now you want me to pay the tip on the $20, that's almost $5.
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of? So as a model slash small influencer, I do get free dinners and free brunches and stuff like that. Most of the time, the tip is actually included in that free thing. Like they say, don't tip, which is nice, but not all of them, the tip is included. And it irks me so much when I go out with other influencers or other models and you're supposed to tip and they feel too entitled to not tip.
Oh,
I always tip. For example, I had an influencer collab at this amazing restaurant called Mana Greek. It's in, where is it? I think it's in Des Plaines. No, I'm wrong about that. Well,
in Illinois.
Yeah. I'm going to very quickly look it up because I actually...
I'm at this point where you looked it up. So the thing I get sometimes when you have to put on, when the businesses and restaurants put on a gratuity tax for amount of people you've had in your party, I understand that. But I think sometimes these people are just choking up the ladder and putting on tax on everything because sometimes you got service fees, like delivery. When you order delivery from restaurants, like pizza or anything, delivery fee, service fee.
Yeah,
charge,
that's true.
tax
I have Dash Pass, and literally yesterday I was door dashing myself Starbucks, but I decided to use the actual Starbucks app to get like my stars to rack up points on the Starbucks app.
There you go.
But then I realized that it's actually cheaper to do it on DoorDash, but then I wouldn't get my Starbucks points. So I just took the L and I ordered it through Starbucks, but it was more expensive. But I was like, whatever, it's fine. Actually, I found the restaurant. So there's a restaurant called Mana Greek in LaGrange, Illinois.
LaGrange.
They are so sweet. I met the owners. They're from Greece. It's like a family-oriented, operated place. They were so kind. Their food was phenomenal. And they're in LaGrange. So I had an influencer collab there. And of course I went there and I tipped. And I tipped extra of what I was supposed to because one, that's respectful. Two, they went out of their way for me. Yeah. They did everything for me. They brought me extra stuff and they didn't need to. And I appreciate that so much. And it's all about character and like that's okay. I'm so happy to tip in that way.
Yeah.
And I can't believe when I go out with other models, they feel too entitled to not tip.
Oh.
That makes me like, I don't see them ever again. If you do that, and if you're like a bad person, you're never seeing me or hearing from me again.
Yeah, the entitlement really blasts me with all that stupidity. Thinking that you're better than someone just because you have a different job title, one. I think that's number one things that I find when I'm with people or I hear about stories is that people who think they're entitled is because they work a certain amount of hours, they have a certain kind of position title, they have a leadership role, and I think because of that, they've worked themselves up in that ladder and they've got that way that they are. They don't have to tip. And it's like, well, no, you're still a customer. You're a customer here. If they give you free shit, that's because they like you.
Exactly. You know, I really pay attention to a person's character, and I really love when people tip really well and they treat everyone equally. So it doesn't matter if it's the valet person or if it's like the owner of a restaurant, you treat everyone the same. That means a lot to me, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's respect. When it comes down to it, it's just having self-respect and respect for others. Knowing that someone's working hard for you to be there, to serve you. Like, you need to understand that that's proper for them to do that, and they need that reciprocation.
Yeah.
That's how business works.
Even if I'm in a higher position than someone, I'm no better than them. We're equal.
Yeah. In fact, they might, I mean, I'm not going to put any leverage on this one, but they might have something over you because they're the ones serving you the food.
Yeah.
I mean, no horror stories to be mentioned, but you don't fuck with people who make your food.
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we could talk about, like, in Chicago, is, like, neighborhood pride. Like, there's, like, over 200 neighborhoods in the city.
I love Greektown. I love Greektown.
Like, we as Chicagoans have our spaces that we love to entertain ourselves or dine or frequent or shop, and then we represent it to the fullest. And that's why, you know, like, you're in New York or somewhat, so you know, like, when you go to Brooklyn or you go to the boroughs, they have that sense of pride. We have that too in Chicago too. So, like, if you tell someone from a different neighborhood who's got the better beef, and you say, "Oh, I get my beef here," and you're like, "Nah, you should go to my place to get the beef." That's the pride that we have, knowing that we can serve you better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm such a supporter for local businesses. If I know someone owns a restaurant, I'm going there and bringing all my friends there and bringing my family there. I'm shouting it out on Instagram out of the love and kindness from my heart.
Yeah, I rep my neighborhood all the time. I consider myself to be a community leader in my community. I know, like, everybody in my building, either side. I'm always friendly and courteous to everyone on the streets. I say hello. I used to just go down the street, give fist bumps to people.
Yeah.
Say what's up.
I'm really friendly like that too. Honestly, I'm a people person. I'm very client facing. I love connecting with people. Literally, like, I was just at a festival, and I just, like, made friends with a whole vendor, and they, like, had me come behind their booth, and I was just sitting and eating with them as if we were family, and I met them that day. And then they offered to take me to their restaurants and stuff and whatever, and now we're cool, you know? So I appreciate stuff like that. You never know who you're going to impact. Yeah.
The cordial invitation to do things. Not everyone has to give you things for free. Not everyone has to put their hands out and extend themselves past the point where, I mean, customer service, like I said, the things you tip on are the fact that they're supposed to be done this way. So if you don't find it in your situation, you can reflect that in your tip. But, you know, having pride everywhere you go, having pride, period, is a good thing. Proud to be who you are, in the family you're from, in the city you represent, where you work, knowing your brand. Like, that, for me, makes, like, the whole entire person, the human being that you're supposed to be.
Yes, that actually reminds me. This is so funny. So the mix that I am is very rare, and it's not really heard of. So I'm half Puerto Rican and half Pakistani. And
Nice.
I had a reel go viral one time, and a bunch of people were in the comments saying, like, "Oh, you've got to be from New York. You've got to be from New York." I was like, guys, I'm from Chicago. Like, I'm so prideful to be from Chicago and very, very proud of my cultures. And I grew up very close with both cultures. So I don't swing one way or another. We can get into that at a different time. But totally, like, I think it's really good to have pride. And I also love and appreciate other cultures too. So, you know, I'm trying to learn other languages as well. So yeah, I think it's really good to have pride.
Yeah. And doing things like when tourists come here and try to represent us, and it's more over than not goes a little wrong and awry because they're not so sure about what we think they're supposed to be saying to us for us. So, like, when people say Sears Tower instead of the Willis Tower, Chicagoans don't care. They
I don't
call it the
care.
Willis Tower.
Yeah.
You don't have to look like you're showing out by saying it's the Sears Tower, like, you know, you've been there the whole entire time. We know it's the Willis Tower. We know it was the Sears Tower. We don't really care.
Right.
Just call it the Willis Tower.
You know what? I want to bounce off that point. I really like how, again, we're friendly Midwesterners, but I definitely want to highlight that we're okay with tourists because I know a lot of cities are not okay with tourists. Like, they treat them like crap.
Yeah.
For example, when I was in Paris, they hate tourists. They treat them like garbage. And I went there, by the way, I went to Paris 3 times, and every single time I didn't like it. I'll go again, you know, for Fashion Week with my girls, whatever. It's a good time.
Sure.
But I definitely didn't like how they were not welcoming tourists. But we definitely are cool with tourists. And like you said, we just don't care. We'll help you out. I actually have a list in my notes of any time that anyone wants to come to Chicago. I just send them the list of like best restaurants and things to do.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Well, we as Chicagoans have that in our back pocket. We know when our relatives come out of state or, out of the city where we got to send them, the best pizza joints, where to get the best burger, how to get the shakes. Like, that's part of our repertoire. We got
Right.
our commando suit of being a Chicagoan, so we got our utility belt. We got, okay, so you're going to be in this part of the neighborhood, so you got to go there, and then you got to go there, and then you got to go over there.
Right. Exactly.
And that also brings into how to dress when you're in Chicago. I mean, you should know more about this since you're like America's Next Top Model.
So I do have a lot to say about this. I do feel like Chicago is a more casual vibe. Actually, last night, ironically, saw a reel of 3 girls. They were all dressed differently. And it was like, guess which one's from LA, guess which one's from New York, guess which one is from Chicago. I guessed it right away. The one that was dressed the most casual, but still cute, was from Chicago. The one that was dressed super trendy was LA. And the one that was dressed pretty like posh or chic was New York.
That's
So
a good skill to have.
yeah, I
People
clocked it right away. So I'm definitely a fashionista. I'm not even a materialistic girl, but the only way I am materialistic
Girl and a material girl.
is clothes. I do love my clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, even right now, I'm wearing this cute top. I could have dressed it up if I wanted to with like a skirt, but I decided to wear some cargo pants. But I'm also wearing heels as well. And then I have on a bomber jacket. But then I added this little scarf and sunglasses. Like, it's the little things, So this is like cute, but chill. I would definitely think this is like a super Chicago vibe. Would I wear this in LA? Probably not. Would I wear this in New York? Probably not. The way people dress in Chicago, I do like how we still dress cute and nice, but it's definitely a lot more on the casual side compared to other cities, I've noticed.
Yeah. I don't really step out. I mean, I wear like sweatsuits or I wear track suits.
Yeah, I mean,
Or-
you're literally in a sweatsuit. That's
Yeah.
super casual. That's super Chicago.
Casual.
Like that, people in LA or New York wouldn't really wear that often.
Yeah, I try to dress by what I know about the weather that I'm in right now. I don't try to like fight the weather and saying like I really want to wear this, so I'm gonna wear it and I'm gonna deal with the weather conditions when I go out. No, I'm gonna dress for the weather that I'm in because I'm not gonna act stupid and like be cold when it's cold and hot when it's hot.
A hoe never gets cold. You know that saying? I'm just kidding. I always am freezing my ass off. So
Yeah, we dress for the weather is what I'm saying. It's like we know when it's fucking below 0 outside, we dress in the thickest out layers that we have. And we need to have that because it's freezing cold in Chicago in the winter. And in the summer, you have certain groups of people. So you have people who dress because they're exercising, for one. The people who are always exercising, those are people who can reflect and say they take their shirts off. Or people on the volleyball courts. But when you walk around the streets of Chicago and you're not on the beach and you're not on the bike path and you see this happening, you're like, wait, why are you dressed this way? Put your clothes back on and the right ones because you look foolish. This isn't like it is LA, like it's some kind of circus on every street corner. I mean, we do have our musicians that play, the Bucket Boys. We do have the caricature artists. We have the guys take photographs and Polaroids. And we got, the homeless out there too. And then the robots, the robots. But like they do that because that's what they do to make themselves cash or whatever they get to live off of. But you don't have to reflect that and try to do the same thing and act like you're just doing it for fashion.
yeah, that's true. Speaking of the way Chicago is, fashion wise and whatever, I don't think this is a really flashy city. It's definitely not. I would say like Miami is probably the flashiest city in the US. But I do want to say something funny. I actually was driving in a parking garage not too long ago, and I noticed the Waymo cars parked. You know the Waymo cars?
What's a Waymo car?
So the Waymo cars are the self-driving cars.
Oh.
Yeah, that are in like Texas and stuff like that.
Shit.
So I drove it, or not I drove it. It drove me. A ghost drove me. It has all those crazy cameras around the car.
Yeah.
So
That's what that is.
yes.
Oh, I see.
So
those.
Waymo, I'm not sure if it officially launched in Chicago yet, but I definitely found the hub. Like I was scared. I was like, oh my God, there was like hundreds of them in this parking garage. And I was like, it was on the north side. And I was like, wow, they're going to launch this in Chicago. I feel like I just came across like an alien thing. Like I just ran into some top secret shit right now. But yeah, guys, Waymo's in Chicago. I have evidence. I took a picture.
Yeah, the transportation methods again are just distraught for me sometimes because you don't know. So people who come here don't know which one is the best one to take. But dressing the part to know that you're going to take the right one makes a lot more sense.
Right.
And, you know, when it's cold, it's pretty simple, just like any others. We get all the 4 seasons here. That's why I love Chicago. We get winter, we get spring, we get summer, we get autumn, fall. All of them in their fullest. We get the leaf color changes, we get the snow, we get the rain, we get the heat. It's fantastic. If you can survive in all 4 seasons, you pretty much survive anywhere else.
I agree. I do like the grit of this city. And I will say the winter is brutal. It's like a tundra. Like it's really freaking cold,
Jeez.
which I don't appreciate. And that's why I try to escape every winter. And it's my birthday in December. So I always get out of here. But yeah, it does build character. And I think it makes you appreciate other seasons more versus living somewhere like Miami where it's warm all year round and people get seasonal depression from that, which to me is kind of crazy. I get it though. I understand. But yeah.
Yeah, and people when we're out, Chicagoans we're nice. We're Midwestern nice, as you said a few times. But when we're out, you don't always have to like get into our personal private space. So it's not always like, hey buddy, how are you? You know, at the bars, you know, the locals at the bars will talk to you. But when you go to bars and restaurants, if you're looking for directions or information, you're better off talking to the staff or the bartender themselves. Because that's who's more going to be the friendliest as you find out. We're not going to beat you up. There are people who go to the holes and dive bars and maybe have a certain kind of attitude, depending on how it's run. But for the most part, we'll conversate with you and we'll tell you what you need to know. But we don't automatically want that all up in our business every time.
Agreed. Yeah. A lot of the locals are really, really kind, but it's best to talk to the workers. I feel like they're really sweet.
You go to the bar, you order a drink. You might as well talk to the bartender and be like, hey, by the way, do you know how to get to this restaurant? Do you know what street we're on? You know what street is? Let him or her take control of that and leave the rest of the people alone. And then after that, if you're going to stay and be a customer in a diner, then maybe you can start getting a conversation with locals and people who are already there. I find that when I reach out and talk to people, I feel like sometimes I'm breaching the space zones. Sometimes when I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, how's the game? You know, that's pretty innocent on its own, but sometimes people have an issue with that. Especially, you don't know the reason why they're drinking there. You don't know the reason why they're eating there. They could be alone. They could be mad. They could be pretty distraught. There's no reason to tell what they're doing there for, but like they're there. And I think that gives away the fact that you think you should just like conversate with them, put yourself in front of them and actually act as a friend. So.
Yeah. I have like inviting energy because I'm a very I'm a people person and I don't know, maybe my beauty people would just want to come talk to me. I also like do things alone a lot, which is fine. Like I love being alone. I'll like sit and dine alone or I'll go to like a hotel lobby and work on my laptop alone. I rarely do that. Actually, I go to a cafe most of the time and do that. But yeah, people will try to come up and talk and I'm fine with it. But then like let me do my work too.
Yeah.
Like there's a time and place for stuff.
Yeah. Treat it as if like you were going to a cafe and you saw someone hovering over their computer. You know, sometimes you just picture someone else at a bar or restaurant hovering over their parochial computer, hypothetically. And like you don't always need to know that you can just bother them to just get simple instructions or whatever you're looking for. So just be cautious. Again, caution, awareness, know where you are, be conscious of what you're doing.
Have
respect for yourself, be proud of who you are, but represent where you're at. Follow the rules. It's not like a rule like you're in the military or you're like a police officer. It's just a rule to follow along.
And you'll be just fine in Chicago with that being said.
So I'm going to sum this up right now. We got a lot going on in this episode about how we can be a Chicagoan. And it's really pretty simple, people. Just like you might just operate at your own house when you're by yourself with your own family. Simple set of rules. Respect yourself. Respect your space. Respect the people around you. You know, follow the transportation methods. There's signs posted everywhere. There's people who will help you if you have questions. Okay? This city is great. You'll love it when you visit it. You'll love it when you live in it. You'll love it when you're away from it. That's all you need to know. This place is great. So, Izzy, I think this was another fantastic episode on our part. And we hope to see you for episode 6.
Yeah, see you guys soon. Careful when you cross the street.
Mustard is the motto in every kitchen and every place for a snack. Don't be afraid of the sweet or the hot. We love it baptized just like that. My team is where home is, no matter the side or the size of the bat. I take naps on all other cities because there is no position where we